Hey guys, in this lesson I am going to review predicates in Logo a little bit and talk about how those are implemented in Python. So let's go to micro worlds, and I have mDiagrammer up here just to review. A predicate is a special kind of a reporter. So one example would be the equal question mark, which takes two inputs, and I'll draw a tank for that. So remember, reporters all have output coming out. They might have 0 or more inputs. Okay, just like commands can have 0 or more inputs, and commands have no output. So a command would just be a straight line across here, right? So equal takes two inputs and produces an output. And what makes it a predicate is that its output is always either the value true or the value false. So for example, if we said, let me move this down a little bit. If we gave it the inputs, let's say 7 and 4, say. And let me draw a couple of arrows here. So if we give it as inputs a 7 and a 4, then the output in this case the output is going to be false, because 7 and 4 are not equal. All right, and this false could be given as input to a number of other procedures, right? So we could have, let's just, to make our life easy, let's just make a show command. Oops. So show command takes one input. It's either a word or a list. And let's draw that tank. So let's say if we used false as the input to show, then we would just print out the word false. Okay, so let's actually do that here. If I say show equal question mark 7 4, make that a little bigger. Then since they're not equal, we're going to print out a false. Okay. Now, okay, so there are things like is 7 greater than 4? That's true. Or is 7 less than 4? That's false also. Okay. So yeah, so there are these basic predicates for comparing numbers, and there are other kinds of predicates, like to see if a turtle is touching another turtle, or you can always look at those in the vocabulary. They generally end with a question mark, the predicates. Okay. Oh yeah. So there's also, though, another way of doing comparisons in logo. So there are two different ways. We could also have said, to see if 7 and 4 are equal, we could say show 7 equals 4, show 7 greater than 4, show 7 less than 4, right? And typically, for these comparisons, we're doing at least one of these is some kind of a variable. It might be a state variable, like, it might be, or something that a reporter that reports a number. Like if we say show x core less than 0, then it's going to say true because the x coordinate of this turtle is less than 0. Okay. So usually when you're doing these comparisons, you're comparing some variable because you want to see what's going on in the world, and you're usually not using show to process the output. You're usually using something more interesting, but we'll get to that in the next lesson. So let me just flip over to Python for a second and talk about how those work over here. So if I wanted to compare 7 and 4, and we have different ways to compare it, we could say 7, let's just do a print 7 less than 4, and what happens? That gives us a false because it's not less than 4. Or we could say print 7 greater than 4. Okay. Now the thing that you really need to be careful about in Python, and this is something that can really trip you up. So this is underlined twice with exclamation points and written in red. Okay, if I could do it that way, is that you can't do this. All right, let's see what happens. It's a syntax error. Does not like that. The way that because what the equal sign is used for in Python is assignment. It's to give a value. So we could say a equals 4. And now a has the value 4. So if I print a, now that's it. Okay. So the equal in Python is used for assignment. And this is also true in Java and in C and a lot of other languages. So it's a really important thing to learn and keep in mind that the equal sign in Python means assignment. It's not for comparison. If you want to compare and see if two things are equal, you use the equals sign. Okay? Boink. All right, so it's equals for comparisons, and just like in like we were saying in microworlds, usually you're comparing what do you call it? Usually you're comparing variables some way. So if I say a equals 4, b equals 7, then I can say print is a equal to b. All right, and that'll give me a result for that. So so in other words, you're playing a game and you're keeping track of a score, and you want to know, and let's say you just changed the score to 10 because you've been racking up points. You might want to, at some point, you want to be able to check and see if the score is equal to 10. Okay, so boink. All right. What else do I want to say about equals? Oh, you can compare. You don't have to just compare numbers, right? So the same thing in microworlds. You can say show equal. Are those two things equal, right? And we'll say, yeah, those are equal, okay? And the same thing in Python. You can compare strings. You can say, let's say, is hello equal to hello. And notice I'm using a double quote here and a single quote here, but either way you're making the same string, so it's going to say true. Okay, so there we're comparing strings, right? So let's see, what else do I want to do? Oh yeah, and another thing you can do is, so this is just, true or false is just the output from these comparison operators, right? The equals, greater than or less than. So you can assign values, like you could say a equals 7 greater than 3, and then print a. Let me make it clear what's going on. So yeah, so 7 is greater than 3. So now the value that's in a is true. It's just this value true. Okay, just like in microworld, it's the same thing. You can say make A be whatever gets reported from here, because see, whatever is happening, this is just reporting a word, right? So if we say, now if I say show A, since high is equal to high, it's the result of this guy was true, so I made A, assigned the value A to true. So notice in microworlds, it's perfectly fine to use the equals for comparison because we don't use the equal for assignment. If we want to put a value into a variable A, we use make, right? Or you can use, set x, set y to set the x core or whatever, right? We never use equals to mean assignment in microworlds. But in Python, it only means assignment. Okay, so we can do that. We can do x equals 5, y equals 5, b equals x greater than y, and print b. And that's false because 5 is not greater than 5, right? We can do something like this. We can say C equals hello equals, let's do the single quote thing again. So we saw that this bit returns a true, right? So this is what this is gonna do is this piece will evaluate to true, and then we'll assign that true to C. Okay. And D equals 20.6 less or equal to 18.3. Okay. And we can do those. And then we can also combine these using and, not, and or, but I'm going to talk about that in the next one. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention also, seeing this, you can say less or equals in Python. And you can also, there's another thing that you could do, which is you could say greater than or equal to. So if we say, is 3 greater than or equal to 3, let me comment out these guys for a second. Since this is true, that 3 is greater than or equal to 3 is true because it's equal to 3, right? Or if we said greater than or equal to 1, that would also be true. But if we said greater than or equal to 8, that would be false. Okay, so we have that one, and there's another one too, which is print 4 not equal to 7. So this is not equal. It's just an exclamation point with an equal sign. Okay, so that one is going to be true, right? Because 4 is not equal to 7. If we made them both 4, that would be false also, right?